if you're gonna choose one, at least commit to them for the series, see how it goes, and then pivot based off that. But now, straight into picks and bans. RA now being on blue. The Lucian ban stays the same, but taking away the RA and now respecting Wei's Wukong. I think that is a great choice.
Yeah, do you ban the Nico is my question. Like, on the red side now, RNG, how much do you respect Mole's Nico? Please let it through. I want to see Mole's Nico so bad.
You know, I think the worst timeline is they let it through and RA don't pick it. This would be the worst timeline. Things that we still have open that are strong.
Annie?
Honestly, yeah, I feel like they have a decent spread of like bans of taking away some of these picks. So as you know, there are still things that you can play against the Annie itself. Nico actually being a strong contender for it, and there it is. If this doesn't go to Mole, I will be heartbroken because we have not had Nico Jungle. We have not had Nico Jungle played in LPL yet, but Lil Yan has also been someone who is spamming it in solo queue.
So it could be a flex pick. We'll have to see. Could depend on the enemy draft as well. I will say, any of Mole's teammates probably now Nico specialists. I'm sure he's like downloaded the Nico mentality to everyone, and you know, I feel like they've probably had full Nico scrims where everyone's playing Nico, just in case flex situations. Perhaps not. Vi going to be locked in. LP going to go with the Aphelios once again, despite its, 2-7 scoreline. Certainly looked good in game number 1 today. And RNG already with a somewhat similar style where you've got the Vi, the Wukong, both like all about that teamfight disruption, being able to find someone and set up an opportunity.
I still think the right pick here for RA would be the Jinx. The question is if now they're hesitant to go away from it with how game 1 went. Looks like they will. They're just going to head towards Xayah, something that we have seen come in so far. Of course, having that ult, having that ability to peel, try to escape from LP, trying to escape from Wei, I think will give them a lot of options. Once again, RA are kind of playing a comp that more doesn't just want to slam their keyboards and run in. It does have to be a little bit more methodical and thought out. So RNG, like you said, kind of going back to the game 1 plan. A bunch of champions that do great at going in and just throwing out these huge AoE abilities like Aphelios and Annie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Vi Annie is a phenomenal 2v2 combo as well. You have a lot of power there. I feel like you now have to ban the Rakan, right? I was kind of hoping that they would lock Xayah Rakan straight off of the bat there instead of the Viego. Just because the guy's called Feather, like, I feel like he's got to be a Rakan player, right? Like, I don't know that he's a Rakan player, but he's called Feather. Let's just assume that that's related in some way. But it will be banned. Lulu taken off the board as well, away from the Aphelios. Do you respect ban the Braum away from Lu Bao?
Honestly, like, wouldn't be the worst, but at the same time, not something that's going to put a huge ton of threat on Xayah in that bot lane 2v2, which I feel like when you're drafting Xayah, that's something you really care about, right? Being able to get to those parts of the game where you are strong. So I am kind of interested. Even like something like a Nautilus, I don't feel like you mind too much going over the enemy hands when, again, you have something like a Xayah.
There is one thing that Braum kind of ruins Xayah in team fights because it works the same way as Windfall, where the feather stops at the unbreakable. So when you do your ult and you do all of your feathers trying to get them to pull it across the whole team, Braum can really be a thorn in the side of Xayah. And in that regard, it is a pretty specific situation.
Yeah, I mean, right, it's a trade-off. Do you want, to maybe be encumbered in team fights or, a bit harder laning phase? Looks like they don't want to deal with the Nautilus at the end of the day. And this is something that actually went unnoticed. I can't believe we didn't talk about this at all. K'Sante going all the way through. This was a staple of everyone in Spring. It was pretty much every top laner's most played champion in Spring Split. And Breathe and Xiaoshu are no different. So Breathe can get his hands on that. And it feels like RNG maybe getting an even stronger comp than they did in game 1.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like K'Sante kind of unarguably stronger than Gragas currently. The fact that I'm saying it like that maybe makes it not unarguable. I don't know why I said unarguably. Blitzcrank locked in for Feather here. I guess RA decided that they need to be able to pull the trigger.
I'll be honest, I don't really know what a better option would be. Blitz doesn't really look like it fits the comp too well. They do need some semblance of engage, but now RA are pretty much completely and totally reliant on two things. Either one, the splits hook, or two, just being able to find advantages in their laning phases, meaning that they can get like on Dragon first, and now you have RNG having to come into you and you start fights that way. Because if you don't have one of those two things, if no blitz hook and you're not ahead, how do you ever force anything onto RNG? RNG will get to dictate the game completely.
Yeah, RA, I feel like kind of need to find some presence in the mid jungle, right? And maybe even play up towards the top side, although Blitzcrank not the greatest weak side champion, so I'm not really sure, to be honest, how RA needs to play this one out. Whereas RNG, once again, the plan is simple. It's the same plan as game number 1. It is essentially, once you get to the mid game, you're kind of just going to play death ball. You're kind of just going to group up as 5 and walk at them and protect LP. Get a big Tibbers off, get a big combo off with Cassante getting in there, with Vi getting in there. Lumao just sits there with the shield, and LP presses all of his buttons. Well, he presses 2 buttons.
Yeah. Yeah, so RNG, again, very similar to game 1. To hit on what RA would theoretically like, it's right. They should be strong in team fights. They should be strong in skirmishes. You have, Gwen's needlework, Gwen right in the middle of the fray fighting everyone. That's setting up for, like, Viego resets. The big Nico ultimate setting everything up. The feathers all flying back and forth. Like, a ton of AoE damage setup resets for the side of RA. The problem is, how do you get through all the CC and all the front line that RNG have to offer? I think it'll be very hard, and it'll definitely take either some mistakes from RNG or some early game outplays from her, Adam.
Yeah, we need to see more from RA. We need to see something a little bit more special. Lien moving in, spotting way. The hook goes out over the wall from Feather, but won't find anyone to start off with. Nice ward, though, onto the red buff coming out from RA. RNG will return in kind with a ward of their own. See where Lumao's going to place it. Trying to wait as long as he can as well to get that off.
Now for RNG, we already said we know that we expect to see them play a lot around their bot lane, especially when you're up against the Blitz. And like you talked about, Blitz not really a champion you like to leave to his own devices too much. It's about either finding kills in his lane or, moving him out of the lane with the jungler and looking for those opportunities elsewhere. So if Wei can really just kind of show a lot of presence around that bot side, make sure that Feather isn't able to find those hooks or isn't able to roam, you get that bot side vision set up. I feel like it really inhibits a lot of RA's early game strength.
Well, I'm going to say a lot of RA's early game strength is in that mid lane. It's Mole, and he's got his signature Nico. This is the game for RA. I don't care about the comp overall. I don't care about how League of Legends should be played. What I care about is Mole is on his signature. And I'm here with the #1 Mole fan globally to commentate it. We'll see what Mole can do on Nico that is now actually meta.
I always come in and think, I'm not going to hide my bias. Again, when he plays bad, we call it how it is. Game 1, he played bad. Feather, that hook was not it. But like Munch hit on in Game 1, if you missed it, in 2020, Mole played this champion in 4 roles in the LPL. It's kind of having to swap everywhere because of the COVID kind of roster that had to be thrown together. So if there's anyone who should be able to find a lead and make things happen on this champion, it really is him. And, yeah, again, the damage profile from RA is there. They have the ability to set up the resets from the Viego and really pop off. It's, as we're seeing here in the bot lane, it's can they find targets to be able to get onto as this game progresses. They do have push in all 3 lanes, so that will set up Lien to be as aggressive as he'd like.
I will say, Feather was hitting the hooks in game #1, but that's how much wider hook on the Nautilus than it is on Blitzcrank. So far, Feather just warming up down in that bottom lane. Hopefully those hooks do pick up just a little bit. The thing is, Blitzcrank's one of those champions. Hang on a second. LP gets some good damage down. The hook finally lands, and it's onto Lumao. 1 HP remaining, and first blood taken by Feather. He makes me eat my words.
He lands the hooks when they matter. It was also a little bit on RNG wanting to aggress there. It looks like Lumao was trying to go forward, get the passive procs down, and be able to run them down, but we need to pause. Wei, I think he should be able to find this. Xiaoshu does a flash.
He's got to wait for the cooldown on his Q. Use that Q to get over the wall. Xiaoshu Will he walk up to try and CS? That's the question. There we go. Flash from Breathe. And Xiaoshu on the wrong side. Flash comes out from Wei to follow it as well. Red buff slows there. Lien arrives on the scene, and maybe they can turn it around. Breathe, the target for the time being, as Xiaoshu gets back into play. Breathe dives to his teammate, gets a shield. Lien now the target as the knockup's about to come up through. Lien has to flash out. Xiaoshu alone, but dashes away from the knockup. And now Wei turned on. Nobody goes down, but what a fight in the top lane.
This was way too tense up here. It was starting to look like we could see the synergy, we could see the tenure that Breathe and Wei have together. But in the end, Xiaoshu having everything stacked up, able to get some meaningful damage down, they're able to get away. But we see here Feather, yeah, not even having to land a hook at first, walking a bit too far forward. It kind of baits them in. It's actually Asum who gets everything started up with those feathers and allows for Feather himself to then be able to get that hook. So nice job by the RA bot lane. Honestly, kudos to the RA top side as well for being able to get out scot-free when you think that Wei was initially the first person up there and they were trying to find that gank onto Xiaoshu, and in the end, didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, it has to be said as well, like, Lumao, what are you thinking there, mate? Like, Unbreakable is currently up, and that's great, but then Unbreakable goes down, and he still goes forward into all the feathers, into a Blitzcrank. Like, you ate that tanky once the Unbreakable's gone, so Lumao perhaps a little too aggressive on that Braum, feeling invincible after game number 1. But first blood for RA. Drake up on the
I know it's my job to say, like, oh, these people should go in here. They shouldn't play their comp like this. But I'm with what you said in game 1. I much prefer me an LPL that's like this. It's like, yeah, Lumao, go in whenever you see fit, brother. We love it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching it. I'm more just, you know, Lumao, if you want the people on Twitter on your side, which I'm sure he doesn't care about, then, you know, maybe I'm going to move on. Feather, though, great little hook off of Asum's root. And a great little start to the 2v2, especially after game number 1, the bot lane got real weird real quick, right? We saw them having a bit of a hard time. Hook from Feather, but the Unbreakable there. See, that's what it's meant to look like, really. But good, Feathers onto LP.
Yeah, that trade, I mean, the trade, pretty equal, right? Slightly, you'd favor towards RA with the fact that it was Feather eating the damage instead of LP, but much better play by the Braum there. But now, with level 6s online, this is where we should start really seeing, honestly, kind of both teams come alive in terms of mid-jungle, right? For Wei and Tangyuan, it's about all the CC they have, and for RA, it's about the ability for Mole to get the lock-up, to get the damage on and try and set up for those resets, which we might see very soon.
Mole just trying to get some honey fruit so that he has mana for this fight. Pop Blossom onto 3. What a start with the Unbreakable. Kind of blocks the follow-up here, and the rest of the team take it down. RA, it looked so good to begin with as LP flashes onto Lien. The jungler chased through his own jungle by the enemy AD carry. The move speed coming out from the fleet footwork. Ghost in play as well. The blast cone, is it enough? No! Shurikens across the wall, and LP showing up.
You hit on it. I feel like Lumao and the Braum really being the hero there, not letting anyone else come in. And now, RA, they pick up a dragon, but a good amount of gold, a good amount of kills going over the side of RNG. We'll see how it all starts here. RA, they get the dragon, you know, some mana being a little bit low. Mole finds the perfect opportunity, gets everyone except LP, but the Braum stops the engage. Really nice tibbers from Tangyuan as well. And sadly, even though Mole's ult got 3 people, the one guy that wasn't picked up is the one who's just able to freely unload all of this damage on the side of the fight. So, yeah, sadly, it looked like a spectacle, but it wasn't what RA needed.
Oh, and Wei has found him in the bottom side. Asum just immediately gets railed. I mean, there's no other way to say it. That was brutal.
There might have been a few other ways to say it, but I think the way you said it was pretty apt.
No, I insist.
So, yeah, I mean, just another great game from Wei. I think we saw it in game 1. Again, in my mind, he was who I had for MVP. I don't think it was outrageous that LP got it, but once again, a great game. And in my mind, Wei was probably the most consistent member, like, throughout RNG, you know, like, post kind of championship run. So it's good to see him still keeping it up, and they're using those kills to get more plates onto LP, and Wei might look for another gank once again.
Feather maybe had a hook angle onto LP there, but holding him for the time being. Mole moving over, gets knocked up. Pop Blossom available, will find it onto just one. It means Wei and Mole are in a 1v1 as Lumao just blocks all of the damage. LP moving over, starting to stack up. Feather, Assam, both with the concussive blows there. The turret comes down, and Assam surely can't survive this one. Feather Storm ain't gonna be enough, or is it? Pulls it onto Lumao, Unbreakable, back into the play, but Calibrum dodge. Tibbers is a complete whiff, but it's used, no, just to tank the tower. I'm wrong, he's a genius.
And now RNG pick up 3 more. There's going to be more plates over to LP. There's going to be more CS denied from Assam. Looks like LP won't stick around, but still the golden XP being denied. RNG just had a great read, great play around bot side this time around. And now we come here. Very, I'd say, difficult position RA are in, because you can see where the Viego is on the minimap, but someone needs to cover this RA bot lane, because they were about to get dove. Wei was waiting in the wings. Mole tries to come down and cover. He gets picked off on one side, and despite the fact that RA's bot lane can buy a lot of time with things like the Xayah ult coming through, still, now you have 4 members of RNG to deal with. The Tibber is going to be able to start things off and make sure that the turret gets tanked, and overall just a really nice play by RA. And sadly, again, Viego on the opposite side of the map. The bot lane needs cover. It's like, what do? Do you completely sacrifice your bot lane? Do you try to cover them with the Nico?
I got the minions. I don't think Tayu is buying. The minion just got unleashed teleport. That couldn't have been more unluckily timed. Sorry. Yeah, I'm easily amused. I'm easily amused.
No. You were on point with that. You were. That was great.
Yeah, I have to say, Lian, the fact that he did Herald as the player started, and then he was like, yeah, I'm going for chickens and red buff. Like, sorry guys, you're on your own down there. Like you say, Mole, kind of having to try and block up some holes across the map. Wei will be able to dash out to safety. There is still a ward on the backside of the pit, which hasn't been cleared, so Feather will get himself out to safety. But when it comes to the Drake that's up in 45 seconds, that ward could be problematic. We've seen how good Breather's been on flanking.
I mean, at this point, RA can't even think about the next Drake. Especially with Mole trying to cover that last play and all 3 of them going down, it feels like you've completely all-in on your Gwen, and you now must play her on top side like this.
Well, that's how you play her on top side.
This play.
I mean, Shamshoot doesn't even get an assist. He's just played PvE up there in the top side. They do have a Herald as well, so this is probably just going to be the tower, whereas LP racing on the other side, but he's got, I mean, Purple Gun is not great for trying to take towers. So I don't think he can win the race here. He should be first out.
Once again, Assam going Kraken Slayer first. Which is just, again,
it's possible it's the tech. It might be the tech. I've not run the numbers. Oh, no. Oh, no. LP, you're in all kinds of trouble. Has flash available. Mole is there, and he flashes straight into the loving arms of a needlework. But the CC's there. Wei's on the scene, and somehow LP survives. Now Lumao looking for Feather as well. It'll only be the one, but what a pick.
I mean, RNG really are just firing on all cylinders. Surprisingly enough, the game looks more dominant than Game 1, but Gold still is pretty close to even. But in terms of just map control and like how you are reading your opponent, RNG are far and away doing a better job.
Yeah, this is kind of beautiful, honestly, from RNG. I mean, I just love the double TP players. Like, you want to farm between towers? I don't think so, buddy. We're past 10 minutes now. And it looked so good to start with, but Feather wide on the hook, and the CC chain is disgusting.
Just goes down. Kind of going back to our last conversation, barring, okay, no fights are going on. Like, the thing I could get for Assam going Kraken Slayer and going it first, it's like, all right, they have a very, like, frontline heavy team. If you kind of look at, like, Kraken versus Stormrazor versus Static Shiv, the kind of 3 items that Riot intended could be built as first items, it's like, okay, Kraken's all about DPS and long-term hitting people, Stormrazor's more burst, and Static Shiv's wave clear. So, like, that logic I agree with, but it just seems like you're giving up so much, like, potential early power by going this build.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, look, I'm with you guys at home. I'm going to be checking Molecule's Twitter after this to see the numbers on the situation.
Right.
But The logic in my mind is like, okay, I've already... Oh, hang on, Mole is being sneaky. Okay, he's not going to get it. The logic is, right, I've lost the early game already. I'm just playing for maximum damage late game, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know if that really makes sense. Like, can you sacrifice further at this point in the game? He's lethal tempo. I mean, you get an IE, that's a big 2-item spike. But is it bigger than Stormrazor IE? I don't know. Or Stormrazor Gale Force.
We're just to see how it goes. Is looking across the board, I mean, just RNG picking up items left and right. Still no Rocket Belt on Mole. Should be relatively close, so maybe wouldn't even be surprised if he based after this wave. Yep, looks like he's going to go for that one now and should have it. And now having more options to get on that back line. But hell, it's going to be hard to even focus on the back line for RA because like we've seen, for RNG, it's everyone running in. There really is no back line. Even the Aphelios, Gale forcing forward to follow up with the Vi and the Annie.
Yeah, so it's... I think it's a tough one if it comes to a 5v5 for RA at this point, and it might just come to that 5v5 as LP finishes the mid-wave. Oh, it's a hook in onto Lumao. Unbreakable's good, though. And now the follow-up, the counter-engage from RNG. Can they find this fight? Herald down to 1,000, it's smited.
Wei gets it.
By Wei. And Breathe actually gets a knockback onto Feather. They won't follow it up. And that's out of 2 games where the Herald isn't picked up unless... Oh, Wei's getting real sneaky with it. Gets the Herald, but at what cost? Leyen there, trying to punish him. Mole moving over to the situation. Pop Blossom only onto 1. Feather gets denied, but Mole gets 1 kill. Now RNG with the follow-up. LP separated, though. He can't do anything. It doesn't seem to matter, as it's Breathe doing everything instead. Assam alone and taken down. Moonlight Vigil has only 2 remain for RA.
And you can see, once again, RA really not handling these situations well. Xiaoshu's damage. That's good. Yeah. Sadly, though, I feel like their willingness to fight is still just too overzealous. RNG, once again, just like Game 1, win a fight, TPs come through, and they're already punishing RA in terms of more gold and more experience than just having members die. So I really like some of these plays coming out from RNG to really force RA to lose as much as they can possibly lose.
Yeah, so we're taking another look. I can't believe this started with Wei trying to sneak the Herald. Like, how is that how the fight starts?
Like, I'm, again, just surprised that RA, like, again, I get you think the Viego's separated, but it's so easy for the members of RNG to be able to follow up. It's so easy. They out-damage you at this point in time. Your AD carry's separated, so you're not even getting the damage coming out from that regard. And it feels like at this point in time, RA really need to lean heavily on relying on that blitz hook to try and, like, open something up for them to then be able to start a fight.
And taking a big old chunk there. I just want to... I really want to just compliment RNG here on how clean these fights are as well. Because it's not just that they're picking the right fight and they're managing to pull it off. Like, every single fight, almost everyone survives. Every single fight, it feels like it's very much a team win. It's not just someone saving the day. Oh, what was that? That was gorgeous. Unfortunately, it didn't do anything. It was a 4-man knockup with no follow-up for the rest of the team. This is just RA in a nutshell at this point, as Feather pulled into the team by Breathe, and another kill goes down. Herald now slammed as LP starts to get onto the tower. He's got Tibbers to tank it up for him. The Herald will finish the job. And RNG, they're making it look easy.
You know, every split, you get 3 or 4 of those plays that look super sexy, but ultimately mean absolutely nothing. That one is definitely going to be one for the history books of this split. But sadly, going back to what you were saying earlier, like, I definitely feel like both these games, we've seen a lot of problems with RA. We've seen, like, the inexperience and, like, the lack of time together. We've seen, again, not, like, cohesive ideas of how to play out their composition. But RNG, like, it's not only them punishing RA's mistakes. It's like you're saying, they're kind of punishing them perfectly. They know exactly how to play out. We'll get another replay of this. I mean, that was super sick to watch. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I respect it, though. When you're falling this far behind, you're losing every fight.
I have been waiting to see a Nico pretend to be a minion to get a big combo off. We got to see it. It was gorgeous. Let's go, Mole. We called him the Nico specialist. He got the combo off, and it was off the back of being a minion. Like, go, dude.
I
This
will
guy
say, much better
Bruise
game
is-
from him
Bruise
than
is
game
that.
1.
That's all I'm saying. 'Cause he's a
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh. This is what they need. This is exactly what they need.
He's got the damage. Tanguyen, he's not going to expect this, surely. They've separated. Tanguyen walks in, the Pop Blossom immediately. There's the Tangle Bombs! And a beautiful kill. Mole's on the board.
Yep, Nether and Mole. So now realizing, hey, we can't fight them. All we could do, cheeky brush plays. The epitome of like high-tier League of Legends. And you know what? They've gotten one. They're surprisingly still only 3K gold behind, which I think you'd expect to be a lot more when you see a 4-13 like kill score.
Yeah.
But sadly, I feel like even going further than like their gold problems or like how they play their comp. A pause.
Breeze should be in trouble here with Lien moving over the needlework. Just wide from Xiaoshu. Another one's there, and Feathers arrived on the scene as well. Breathe is going down. There's no two ways about it. Lien arrives at the last second and steals the kill. Let's come back to Tien. Tien. As Asa, oh no. Oh, Lumao! Okay, he gets out with his life. That looked real dicey for a second there. And they will walk away.
You know, it was perfect, though. It was perfect, though, because it baited Asim into thinking, like, oh, maybe this turtle killed this Braum. I need to, like, keep autoing and help it out. Give that opportunity for LP to actually take him down. He did not have flashes at that time, so at least next time an aggressive play comes out, he hopefully will be able to escape. But who knows how much longer this game goes if RNG are going to pick up this Baron.
I mean, 20 minutes on the dot Baron here. There's Lien in the area. Okay. It's a pixel brush play. That kind of plays into the hands of an eco. As Feather, the target, as they all just charge on him. Pop Blossom is here. It's only onto one, though, and the Unbreakable keeps him alive. Mole, the next target to be eradicated off the face of the rift. Lien gets a little bit of damage down, but it's him, Asim, and Xiaoshu in a 3v5.
They at least managed to stop the Baron, which I feel like is what you need to do at the end of the day, right? You're hoping for more volatility. The longer this game goes on, the better odds you have as RA of just some shenanigans leading to one team fight win.
Lumao very bold there, but actually will survive
Oh.
it, or will he? The needlework! It's a double for Xiaoshu, and a little overzealous. Wait, LP got a kill there as well, somehow. Lien actually went down to the tower. Asim, what is going on, Lyrics? Save me.
I still want to know how we don't have higher than a 4K gold lead when we have like 7 to 18 kills. This is complete madness. This is
Especially with
completely
the,
awesome.
Look at the
and I'm
80
here for
carry
it.
score as well for Asim. Like, how are they staying in touching distance of gold with a 0-680 carry that's down in CS?
You know, you would actually think he'd be down more when he's 0-6
Yeah, right.
up against the 7-1 Aphelios. My God. And Xiaoshu, we have seen their hope. Their hope is Xiaoshu. That needlework was huge. If you can get that through multiple members of RNG, once, you know, maybe like Lumao's shield goes down, he is forced out. Could be a way in.
Was going to get caught then for Wade. I'm not sure that's a fight that Wade gets out of, but it looked like he wanted it anyway. It's Tangyuan in the area as well if Xiaoshu tries to go too aggressive. But I'm going to be honest, I maybe even favor the Gwen at this point in that 2v1. Surely not. Surely they would win the 2v1 as Wade dashes out to safety. Drake coming up in 35 seconds as Lumao. He felt the breeze from that one.
Yeah, he did. RNG, just like game 1 though, doing a great job of controlling vision, right? Completely clearing out RA's wards, having their own line down, getting wards towards top side, like just River completely lit up for the side of RNG. Wave even pushed in bot side so they know no one's going to enter through that area, and now able to go and look to aggress and maybe find picks of their own.
Sneaking on forward, secret agent mission for Breathe, but it will just back away, maintaining that vision control, making sure nobody can come close. It's Asim with the Navori, with that Kraken. Perhaps this is the 2-item spike we've all been looking for. Needs to wait for Lumao to use that shield though before he can pull the trigger on all those feathers. But Wei in the meantime will grab himself this Drake. And that'll be 3 now for RNG. Another advantage on their side. As I just want to mention as well, LP 2-0 now. Absolutely immaculate scores. Like 7-1 and 6 at this point. He's gone Gale Force into Collector as well, which Collector apparently better value for your money at this point
Yeah.
in the game. Like, they proved it. So we already saw Aphelios as going Collector back before when it wasn't actually that good to go for. So I expect to see that a lot on Aphelios.
Yeah, and this is just one of those
Aphelios
items that didn't have big confusing changes, right? Just got a flat 6 more lethality given. Going to be a nice change. And especially when you start snowballing this hard, they really don't have any like super beefy front line either. LP, I mean, he just shreds anyone on RA's way. Has a great flank angle.
Yeah, he's getting funky with it. RA surely have no idea this is going on.
Oh, wait.
But they're going to check. Shout just wants blue buff. He's not even looking for the flank.
This could actually really backfire if 3 members of RA just jump into that brush.
But they will get away with it. Blue out, trying to buy space. And once again, all about these wards. The Drake was taken, so now they're fighting for vision on the top side. And it feels like that is fundamentally the game plan.
I feel like this is like the longest amount of time we've gone without a kill happening.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's only been like 2 minutes.
I feel like I'm watching the EDG series from yesterday, where just nothing ever happened. It was a lot of posturing and nothing ever happened from it. Breathe, though.
Breathe?
He ain't EDG. He's going in. And look at this fight from RNG. Pop Blossom on the backside ain't going to be enough as Breathe walks away with his life. And LP wants a little bit more. Mole and Lien both tagged up. Can they finish the job, though? The knockback from Breathe is gorgeous. And they wipe RA off of the map. That's going to be game.
How don't they even lose a single member? What a beautiful debut for the new rebuilt RNG.
And this is the thing, we were talking about the coordination from RA, understandable, because it's a new roster. There are more roster changes for RNG. They've had the same amount of time to prep. How do they look this good on day one? I don't know, but 23-7, what a win, what a dominant 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I think both games looking incredibly on point. Seriously, it had just phenomenal series. Breathe as well. Bit of a show off in game 1, you know, running them around a map. And then game 2, not as, I'd say, heavy-handed in terms of flashiness, but that last engage is, I mean, it sealed the deal for RNG, right? And I mean, across the board, you can pretty much give praise to everyone. All 3 of Tangyu and LP and Luma, I think, delivering above expectations. Because, again, even if RA, I think, like, RA looked like a new team. RA looked like a team that just literally played on the Rift as a 5 for the first time, right? Like, it wasn't cohesive. A lot of individual mistakes. A lot of, again, Loyan up towards top side. Bot lane's really struggling, needs help. Mole has to cover, and it's kind of all disjointed. But at least the individuals, in terms of, like, 2v2s and 1v1s were good, and RNG showed that they can stack up against those. So I think, yeah, great first step by RNG. My tweet was right. RNG, the easy 2-0 today. Munch knew it all along.
Yeah, that's definitely what you said. I'm pretty sure I remember you saying that. Yeah, I mean, look, RNG looked good today. They looked real good today. But as you said before, this was against RA, a team that you expect to be sort of middle of the table, unless we see some changes, unless we see some significant improvements. So now I'm excited, though, to see this version of RNG against some of the bigger names in the LPL, because like, I didn't expect this kind of play out of them. I'll be straight up honest. I expected it to be much messier. I expected them to look decent, don't get me wrong, but this looked immaculate.
Yeah.
This looked drilled. This looked like clear game plan, great vision control, great coordination. Like, they're ticking all of the boxes of a great team.
I think coming in today, you expected RNG to look like, you expected both RNG and RA to look like teams that are like competing for playoffs. Like, not necessarily like 17th, but not necessarily like a top playoff team. But coming in, RNG solidly looked like a team that maybe they aren't just a team that's going to come in competing for like the 10th spot. They looked more like a team that is like 6th, 7th, 8th, like kind of like in the middle of that fray, can work their way up. And this is just off of one series. So, you know, again, who knows like how much further they can go. At the same time, who knows what they look like up against one of those types of teams, right? Like, put this RNG squad against an OMG. Is it going to look as cohesive? I guess it's something that we're going to have to wait and find out. But if they do, I'm amazed. Honestly, again, I'm already amazed. I'm already amazed at how well RNG have done in this first series.
The crazy thing to me as well is, like, when you look at last split, because one of the things we've been praising today is the RNG coaching staff. They just lost Tabe. Like, Tabe left halfway through spring. So it's not even the same like coaching system of RNG of old, you know, the historic one that's been winning MSIs. So I don't know. I don't know where they've pulled this out from. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I would love to know. So I'm going to be crawling through the Twitters that post Weibo posts later to try and find some juicy gossip, because I want to know what on earth they did to set up this kind of victory.
Yeah, and kind of moving over to RA, which we talked about RA a lot in the games. I'd say we kind of mainly focused on RA, but now, kind of hindsight, it's like, all right, you can see that the individual talent is definitely still there. Like, again, they're all solid players. It's about there's just too many mistakes coming together. Look like they didn't have a coherent idea of how they wanted to play at their comps, just things like that. It kind of makes you wonder. I wonder if they are going to swap around, right? Are we going to see Strive come in to maybe bring more stability and less like aggression as Mole brings? Or maybe to give Balan a try in bot lane to maybe bring in like a cohesive voice who can give them a direction.
It's like, okay, Mole has too much aggression. Why don't we bring Baolan in, who also has too much aggression? To be fair, though, I actually think Feather played very well today, so I don't think subbing out Feather is the answer.
Well, the problem is, right, it's not about play. It's if we're saying, hey, RA look like a squad that haven't played together, are you going to bring in someone who at least has experience, can bring a voice maybe? So, I don't know. This is all the speculation. Maybe RA just keeps sticking with this roster, which I also think would be respectable, because give them time, see if they are able to deliver. But yeah, we'll find out probably soon, because with our LPL schedule this split, I feel like teams probably play like every other day. And yeah, a bunch of questions will be answered quite quickly. Even more questions will be answered, because we even have Gala playing in our next series. We'll get to compare him to how RNG just did. Ah, what a day.
We get to see who wins the divorce in the second series between Gala and RNG. Exciting stuff. I'm going to say, Gala's got his work cut out to win that divorce, because RNG looked good. RNG looked real good today.
And to be fair, like, Gala also is a much tougher opponent to deal with, right?
Yes, he
going
does.
up against top esports.
Yeah, Jackie Love and Mark in the 2v2. I will say, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that bot lane. We've got an interview with one of our winners, so let's kick it over, find out how happy they are with a 2-0 win.
Hello there, welcome to post-game interview. I'm Christina. We're joined by Breeze, the top laner for RNG. Congratulations on winning your opponent 2-0. This is your very first win of the 2023 LPL Summer Split. How does it feel to be able to winning your opponent with such a dominant victory? Especially one thing more important is that you have 3 new teammates in your roster in today's matchup. 欢迎호시哥来到我们的赛后采访。恭喜 RNG 在这个夏季赛首战告捷。其实今天可以看出是一个非常干净利落的2-0，特别有一点只是需要注意的是，在今天的首发名单当中 ，RNG 这边有3位新队员，所以想问一下呼吸哥，今天能和新队员2-0拿下这一场首战，感觉怎么样呢？
能看到他们就是发挥得很好，然后勇于说出自己的想法，然后一起拿下这场胜利，就是挺开心的。
Actually, I'm pretty excited about that, to see my teammates perform pretty good, and we got this very first win together, and they really did some great mechanics bravely. So the second question, I'm curious about your own performance, especially in today's game. Number 1, you got Gragas, and you made a very, very decisive engagement on Jinx in the last move on the flanks. And in game number 2, you also performed pretty good in some skirmishes and team fights on Cassante. So how would you rate your own performance on a scale of 1 to 10？ 那么其实说到呼吸哥今天的表现，其实在第一局的时候，酒桶也是多次开到了对面的 AD， 并且在最后一波有一波绕后一锤定音。第二局的奎桑提在前期的小规模团战和整场比赛团战当中也发挥了很强的作用。呼吸哥觉得今天自己表现怎么样呢？如果是1到10分的话？
感觉今天就是在找机会上有突破自己之前没做到的吧，就给自己打个9.9，然后后面再进步吧。
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would like to give me 9.9 because I did a better job on seizing opportunities proactively, and I really tried to find some opportunities, and I think this part I did much better than before, but I do hope I can perform better and better in future. And the next question, I also want to touch on the draft, especially in game number 2, because Nico were reworked, and we know that RA's mid laner Mo is a very signature Nico player, and they got Blitz Grand, they got Win Top. So, do you think this draft caught to you guys off guard? How do you guys manage to prepare into their draft in game number 2？其实，在第一局他们失利之后，第二局的阵容上好像可以看出对面也是有一些想法了。首先是 Nico 重做之后，加上对面的莫选手也是一个 Nico 绝活哥嘛，而他们也拿出了像机器人这样的选项上单格温。所以说，在 RNG 这边看到对面选出这样一个阵容的时候，有没有觉得有点出乎意料？或者说，当你们看到这样一个体系的时候，打算是怎么应对的呢？
那时候看到对面阵容，就是也有想过是因为会那么出嘛，然后我们就按照我们之前自己原定的计划就这么做了，就还好。
Actually, we kind of have predicted their picks in game number 2, their draft. So we just managed to execute as what we have prepared, just as our synergy. So the final question for you, a lot of people and your fans are so curious about your team synergy right now because you have new 3 teammates in your roster, and we have mentioned it earlier. So from your perspective, as a veteran player for RNG, how do you rate your team synergy right now? And do you think you still need much more time to practice, to grind as a team, or are you confident of your team's roster this year, this split? 那么最后一个问题，其实刚才我们也说到了有关于这边大名单的变化嘛。那么呼吸哥觉得到目前为止是觉得整个队伍的磨合状态怎么样呢？是觉得还需要时间去练习磨合，还是到现在已经从今天的表现就觉得还是比较有信心的？
信心的话，我觉得我们全队一直都是有的，但是我们肯定是会经历很多东西，就是还有很多方面需要进步的，以及我们还有很多没有做好的，就是还没展现出来吧。就希望我们后面好好的训练，然后让这些不好的一面少展示，多展现我们打得好的一面。
So first of all, we have always been very confident about our team, but I do think we still much time to practice our synergy, this kind of things, and we need much more time to improve. We just need to avoid our drawbacks and some aspect we didn't perform well. Just try to manage to improve on this part, and I hope we can perform better and better. And by the way, you got the most valuable player in game number 2. 第二局的时候刚刚拿到了 MVP 嘛，现场的观众也是很热情的。So the final question I also want to ask. Did you have some messages, or what do you want to say to your fans who are supporting you and supporting RNG？ 最后一个问题，刚才是现场观众是在高呼你拿到了第二局的 MVP 嘛，所以有没有什么想对支持 RNG 这个队伍的粉丝们说的呢？
就很谢谢他们一直支持我们吧。就今年也发生了很多曲折的事情，然后就希望他们能一直见证我们的成长嘛。然后就是感觉，还有就是觉得我第一把应该是 MVP， 第二把可以不给我。
So actually, first of all, in terms of the most valuable player, I do think I deserve most valuable player in game number 1, and maybe I don't think I deserve most valuable in game number 2. And in terms of what I want to say to our fans is that I do want to say thank you so much for your support all the time. Maybe we have been experiencing a lot of things this year throughout the whole journey, but thank you so much for your company, and I hope that you can always accompany us to witness our improvement and involvement in the future. Thank you so much for joining me. 谢谢呼吸哥来到我们赛后采访。Back to you guys. Bye.
Base
much
breathe.